Hello there. This is our group assignment for Module 6. In this assignment, our teammates will go through the ideas they selected for their wicked problem, including taxing robots, improving truck driver skills, and then promoting within trade and microfinance.
Hi, I'm Nick Gradzicki. I work for Progressive Insurance, which specializes in both personal and commercial auto. Actually, number one in the standalone commercial auto in the industry. We did more written premium than any other carrier over the past few years. We're also number one in truck insurance. We do more federal filings per year than any other insurance carrier on the tractor-trailer side. So that's what got me thinking about what my wicked problem is. With Tesla and a lot of companies coming out with autonomous vehicles, the tractor-trailer industry is also starting to be impacted by that. One of the things that we've been seeing is the testing or the piloting of autonomous vehicles for truck drivers. Over-the-road trucking is a major part of how everybody in the country is able to get their goods. There's over nearly 2 million tractor trailers on the road and roughly 3.5 million drivers. The amount of goods that is delivered is nearly 70% as a result of tractor trailers. So with that being said, my initial wicked problem is what impacts could that have to the drivers in the tractor trailer industry? My initial statement is with the advancement in technology and in autonomous vehicles, what impact could this have not only on the insurance industry, but also the end consumer and society as a whole? How could this impact the employees' meaningfulness of work? So how do we implement this? Well, first, taking a look at some of the tasks that truck drivers do outside of just driving. A couple of things were to inspect loads to ensure the cargo is secure. On a flatbed truck or even on the inside of a trailer that's being pulled by a tractor, everything needs to be secured, especially on a flatbed if it's not strapped down and secured properly and then also checked during its journey. We don't want anything coming off the back of that causing an accident. Following appropriate safety procedures for transporting dangerous goods is another. One thing that does is maybe you're carrying gasoline or hazardous materials or waste, whatever it may be. Those drivers also need to practice more due diligence in the result of an accident. Checking the vehicles to ensure that mechanical safety and emergency equipment is in good working order. Fire extinguishers are huge on trucks, just in the event something happens. Safety and mechanical, engine, brake lines, anything that happens within the truck is something that they're regularly checking as they're driving. Another thing to really pay attention to is a lot of times when you see tractor trailers on the side of the road with a police officer behind them, it's not actually a police officer, it's a USDOT inspector. A lot of times they will pull tractor trailer drivers over and perform a level 1 or level 2 inspection. What they do is physically get up under the truck, look at brake lines to see if anything's leaking, look at any of the lights that are on the tractor to see if any of those are out, looking at mud flaps to see if those are missing. There's also what's called in-service and out-of-service violations. If anything is not repaired at the side of the road, that truck is not deemed in service and cannot be operated. So there's a lot of things that is expected for the truck driver to do outside of the realm of just driving. So to make sure that a lot of these truck drivers are educated in a way that they know how to repair all these things, what to look for, and to make sure that their jobs are secure for over-the-road truck driving is really important.
For the next wicked problem, this will be for the wicked problem addressing the issue we are having is that AI is replacing a lot of jobs that used to be performed by humans. We're seeing this through a lot of different industries, anything from factory jobs, customer service. If you call any type of customer service hotline, typically you'll talk to robotics first before you actually get to a person. And we're starting to see this even nowadays on the streets where there's a lot of cars that can drive themselves. And that is only going to continue to increase over time. So this wicked problem really wanted to address the issue that we're going to see potentially where a lot of people in society are going to be losing their jobs at a rapid pace as technology continues to grow. And the idea that was given to me to help kind of reduce that impact and certainly help address the wicked problem is the idea of paying taxes for the use of robotics by companies. So essentially the idea would be if you have a factory employee who works on the floor that makes, say, $80,000 a year, and then a company wants to come in and eliminate them. Well, right now the company pays that employee $80,000 a year. They pay them health benefits, probably retirement, any number of things. And that employee in the day is going to go home and have to pay personal income taxes to the government, as he or she has earned $80,000 a year. This idea basically is that if a company wants to come in and replace that employee, so take away the $80,000 employee and replace it with a robot, any type of AI, then the company itself will have to pay personal income taxes essentially for $80,000 because that job used to be done by an employee who could make $80,000 a year. And now all of a sudden the company only has to pay for equipment, for the robotics, maybe upgrades. They don't have to actually, and that's less money now going into the government and going towards helping people. So that idea, which was presented to me, and I think it's a great idea, would really help kind of curb the issues we're seeing right now with companies just eliminating more and more jobs for robotics. That would definitely make them reconsider that, being that they will have to pay for the taxes, because that is money ultimately lost by everybody in society if you are simply just replacing with AI. Looking at this wicked problem, the idea of taxing robotics, I think the best way to implement that would be, as we talked about previously, is implement it based on the salary of the employee that was ultimately eliminated by robotics. So as we talked about on the previous slide, if someone makes $80,000 a year working on a factory floor and they are eliminated, then I think a company should have to pay the income tax for that individual that has now been replaced by robotics. And I think that will really help create a much stronger sense of commitment, I believe, between both the employee and the employer when looking at an organizational behavior perspective, especially when we look at continuous commitment. That's something that I kept coming back to because ultimately in the day, a lot of employees might be concerned to leave their job because they feel like they've mastered it in many ways. They become very good and skilled at what they do. And I think that when you talk about the rise of AI, I think a lot of people might be concerned about what's the point of me mastering this skill set if I could potentially be eliminated by it. So I think by implementing taxes like this, you kind of deter employers a little bit on just eliminating people from their jobs just to try to save some money in the near term, because ultimately they will be paying taxes on this. So that's, I think, the best way to implement that. But I think what's really important, though, is what do you do with that taxes that get charged? I think this should not be handled the way you typically would handle like personal income tax, where someone makes $8,000 a year, they pay whatever amount that is based on whatever tax bracket is at the time, and that goes into any number of things that the government obviously will need to use that for. I think that the taxes paid by companies for the use of robotics should specifically be used to help those who are displaced. So to me, the idea would be pretty simple: is that we basically take $80,000, whatever that tax is, that money would then go used to whether it be courses provided by the government, or whether the government outsources that to other companies to help train these employees that have lost their jobs to learn a new skill that will be applicable moving forward. Because the reality is there will be a lot of opportunities, of course, created by AI. But the concern is, and what the ultimate core of this wicked problem is that as AI continues to rapidly grow and employees are losing their jobs because companies have replaced them, there needs to be a place for these employees to go. I think by doing this to create this tax, to create classes, to help also just kind of create a social safety net for those being displaced, I think will help with commitment. I think will help corporations and people just to know that if their job is eliminated because of AI, because it just makes so much fiscal sense for companies to move past somebody actually sitting in that seat doing that job and going to robotics, that there is a tax in place so that these people can reach out and have resources to ultimately help find a new employment and find a new skill set that will be relevant in today's culture and society. So I think that this tax would really be influential moving forward. I think it was a great idea that was presented to help address this wicked problem.
The idea proposed focuses on promoting specialized skilled workers and tradesmen inside of their roles instead of pushing them out to management positions. Promoting within their specialized field gives them the opportunity for progression, but allows the company to retain the expertise and abilities of the individual in the area they are needed. This mindset can bring about drastic changes in the way construction firms promote and retain their workforce and dampens the effects of the generational gap in knowledge and commitment to the industry. The infographic on the left shows that 40% of construction trades workers are 45 years of age or older. The Bureau of Labor Statistics warns that an additional 200,000 trade jobs openings will happen each year as this group begins to exit the labor force. The usual way forward is to cast an individual involved in a skilled trade into a people management role to progress in the company hierarchy or in their career. Instead, the goal is to fabricate a system in which companies promote the person for experience and commitment with higher status and increased responsibilities, but retain the contributive factor of being involved in their specialized skill. This is ultimately a form of a win-win situation in which the employee will have advancement opportunities monetarily and in rank, while the company does not promote the individual to a role in which his abilities will no longer be utilized to their full potential. Such a system indicates that the business puts financial value on excellent performance and recognizes developmental achievements too. Keeping more trained employees inside their specialty positions will help the ability to perform work and pass on knowledge to the less informed next generation.
Hi everybody, I'm Ashley Reeb and I'll be reviewing the idea of microfinance for my wicked problem. So to begin, I got great ideas from all of my teammates, but Roy was able to give me a great idea, which was microfinance, which could be a strategy to tackle my wicked problem. So to review my wicked problem, I'm looking at solving the poverty, sustainability, and environmental factors that are going on currently within the cocoa industry and cacao farming. For microfinance, to review quick, it is a term used to describe financial services like loans, savings, insurance, and fund transfers that can be given to small businesses or individuals who lack access to traditional banking services. This would be perfect for the farmers that are in foreign countries growing cacao. So a little background on microfinance. So its origin story starts with Dr. Muhammad, and he is considered a pioneer of modern microfinance. So he experimented with making small loans, which he funded himself, to women that were making their own bamboo furniture and previously relied on loans with unfair terms. He discovered that these tiny loans, which traditional banks would never have made, actually can create a sustainable way to help the small business owners, like the women, fund their businesses and create a successful cycle that allows them to escape poverty. And then he also was able to see that these women were able to pay him back after they were able to break the cycle of poverty and create a sustainable business model. So he would go on to found his own bank and then also win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. That's the origin story of microfinance. And then additionally, it is a cycle, so it does continuously go, and as you can see with the graphic on the side, it can create employment generation, it serves the underserved, it is a future investment, it gives easy access to credit, there's expansion opportunities, and then it does ultimately bring economic gains for those that are loaning and those who are receiving the loan. So now let's talk about how I can implement this idea of microfinance to my wicked problem. So after doing some research, I was able to see that my employer, along with many other companies that use cocoa, are currently using microfinance as a solution to the poverty within the cocoa industry. So the Hershey Company currently has a program called Hershey's Cocoa for Good, and that program is going into the countries that are farming cocoa and working with the people that are owning the farms and then the young people in the community to help teach them core life skills and provide them resources to successfully transition into thriving adulthood. And then additionally, for those who already are adults, they are providing education and microfinance options. So for one example of what Hershey's Cocoa for Good program does is they do teach the youth life skills and financial literacy. So they attend training sessions and they also are visited by microfinance institutions to learn how they can save their money, how they can go into business, and then also how they could get loans from those microfinance institutions. So for Hershey, this is just one way that they are already using microfinance, and more so the education of finances in the cocoa farming communities to help solve this wicked problem. For my final project, I will be looking more in depth into this solution and how other companies are using microfinance to solve the wicked problem of the poverty within the cocoa industry. I plan on looking at seeing what Mars is doing, what maybe Mondelez is currently doing, and then furthermore investigating what the microfinance institutions are doing. This will be all collected throughout the rest of my courses, and then in my final capstone course, I will use this idea along with the others that were mentioned by my teammates for my final solve for my wicked problem. Thank you. Thank you for listening and reviewing our group assignment from Module 6. If there's any questions, please reach out. Thank you so much.